Uhuru. Uhuru. Uhuru, everyone. My name is Liu Mancho Quayeta, and I am the president of the local impediment branch right here in St. Petersburg, Florida. Uhuru. And I'd like to welcome you all to this event commemorating the 50-year anniversary of the racist mural in the City Hall being torn down. Uhuru. As we start every event, I'd like everyone to stand up and recite the African Pledge, which is found on the inside of your pamphlet, if you do not know it by heart. And if you could raise your right fist in the air. I pledge allegiance to my African people. I pledge to develop my mind and body to the greatest extent possible. I will learn all that I can in order to give my best to my people and our struggle for liberation through revolution. I will keep myself physically fit, building a strong body free from drugs and other substances which weaken me and make me less capable of defending myself, my family, and my African brothers and sisters. I will unselfishly share my knowledge and understanding with others in order to bring about change more quickly. I will discipline myself to direct my energies thoughtfully and constructively rather than wasting time in idle hatred. I will train myself never to hurt or allow others to harm my African brothers and sisters, for I recognize that we need every African man, woman, and child to be physically, mentally, and psychologically strong. These principles I pledge to practice daily and to teach them to others in order to unite my people in the struggle for freedom and independence. Uhuru. On December 29th, 1966, Omali Yeshitela, then known as Joe Waller, led a bold action along with John Bryant and other members of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. They removed the racist mural that hung in full view at the St. Petersburg City Hall for 30 years. Yeshitela was sentenced to 5 years in prison for this act, and the spot has remained empty ever since. Now, the city is attempting to whitewash history with a new mural that lies about the true story and conditions of Black people today. We are demanding that the city place a plaque in the empty spot with a tribute and apology to Chairman Omali Yeshitela, John Bryant, and the members of SNCC and the African community. So I'd like to thank you all in joining us as we celebrate the 50-year anniversary of Omali Yeshitela's courageous act in celebrating Black Power. Uhuru. Our MC today is a dear comrade of mine, the internet sensation, the charismatic comrade Gazi Kodzo. Uhuru.
Uhuru. Touch one. I can't hear y'all. Touch one. Touch one. Uhuru. Welcome, welcome to the 50th anniversary. Can we have a round of applause for these two heroes right here? Uhuru, Chairman Omali Yeshitela, and Comrade John Bryant. Uhuru. Long live Chairman Omali Yeshitela. Long live Comrade John Bryant. Uhuru. Uhuru. I just want to welcome everyone for coming here, and I am just so excited for this event. So many amazing things are going to be laid out, and you have joined the fight, the resistance, the continued resistance of 50 years, a 50-year-old struggle around not just the horrific, what the white community calls art, but a struggle for self-determination, for African liberation. Uhuru. Uhuru. And I just want to, applaud these two comrades who have fought vigorously for 50 years long. And that is why, if you go to that building today, you will see a blank spot. Uhuru. Because they know that St. Pete ain't nothing to mess with. Uhuru. Uhuru. So I will be welcoming for culture, Comrade Alikia, who is all the way here from Okar, Haiti. Yes, and she will be performing for us. Uhuru. Okar, Uhuru. Uhuru. Yes, thank you, Alikia, for that island breeze. Round of applause. Yes. Bringing some of that island flavor. We appreciate. Also, we just appreciate, amazing music in the airwaves right now. I know we're all celebrating the launch of Black Power 96.3. Uhuru! Yes. Playing music that we are not ashamed of. We can play it and listen to it with our friends and our family, putting out a revolutionary context and narrative that is so beautiful for all African people to be listening to. A round of applause. Yes, so make sure to tune in to Black Power 96.3 and let your friends and family know. Also, shout out to another community radio station, 99.1 Jams, Uhuru. Yes. We are live on the air right now on 99.1 Jams, Uhuru. Yes, Uhuru. And I just want to give acknowledgement to Reverend Sykes, Uhuru, from the Bethel Community Baptist Church, Uhuru, right over there, Uhuru in front row. Yes, thank you to all the community leaders who have come today. We really appreciate you coming to this monumental, amazing event. And we appreciate everyone who is also tuning in at home and listening in their cars, if they're either on 99.1 or 96.3. And this is the power of having our own Black community ran radio stations, that we control the narrative. Uhuru! Yes, Uhuru. And it all started 50 years ago when Chairman Omali Yeshitela, John Bryan, and these SNCC members went in there and tore down this racist mural, when they did the unthinkable, when they did something monumental, something that took so much bravery. I don't know if y'all know, but 50 years ago, they were lynching Africans just for looking at white girls, okay? And these Africans tore down a mural, okay? All right, so that's an amazing, monumental thing, and we really applaud you, comrades, for that. Uhuru. Yes. So next, we have an amazing video that was put together by another comrade of the community, Charles Oliver, who spends countless hours doing amazing things for the community, putting out amazing videos and things of that nature for Black Star Industries, which runs a plethora of different things in our community, from Uhuru Foods and Pies to the Uhuru Foods Marketplace, our gym that's down the street, All People's Tyrone Lewis Gym, and also this beautiful Akwaaba Hall. Round of applause for Black Star Industries, Uhuru. And that also has its roots to what happened 50 years ago. So we're going to play a video by Charles Oliver that he put together. And it's got to be right here, y'all. Okay.
In 1966, when I tore that mural down, it was the rise of Black Power, the Black Power movement in this country. And I was the representative of the Black Power movement in this city. What we are referencing today is something that occurred 50 years ago. And what the city is attempting to do now is to replace that mural that was there with an image that presupposes that things have gotten so much better for African people in this city subsequent to then. We say that's a lie. This mural was really a racialized caricature of Black people that satisfied the viewpoint of a bigoted artist and all its appreciative viewers. So on December 29th, 1966, after much protest to the city government of St. Petersburg, I led a march to this city hall, where I entered and tore from the wall a 4-by-8-foot mural that had graced this building since 1940. The city is offering a $10,000 bounty to an artist willing to lie by creating a replacement mural that, according to them, respects the events that caused the still vacant space where the mural once hung, while celebrating the advances in civil rights and inclusivity in the city today. They had said nothing to me. They said nothing to John Bryant, who was jailed with me. They said nothing to Joseph Wall, who was 17 years old when we took that picture down and spent 14 months in prison. They said nothing to Lemia Green, who has now passed away, or Crawford Jones, or Tommy Williams. They said nothing to us, but they were going to go about and they were going to have an artist do something that they would decide represented the events that led to the removal of the mural. They would seat the black representatives from the Democratic parties and not seat the lynch mob white Democrats there. And based on this promise, Africans and others went into Mississippi. This was in 1964. We went into Mississippi and organized the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Mississippi Freedom Summer of 1964.
Will the delegates please be seated? The state convention for the Freedom Democratic Party now in session.
And we went to Atlantic City, and of course, the great white liberal Lyndon Baines Johnson, who was then the president, had Hubert Humphrey, who was another great white liberal Democratic Party guy, along with Walter Mondale, great white liberal Democratic Party guy, to talk to the SNCC and other organizers to accept 2 non-voting seats, saying that they were going to seat those white lynch mob Democrats there. That was in 1964, and Fannie Lou Hamer made the famous statement that we didn't come here for no 2 seats when everybody is tired.
Fannie Lou Hamer, the sharecropper who had been evicted from a plantation, had come to symbolize the Mississippi movement.
Mr. Chairman, and to the Credentials Committee, it was the 31st of August in 1962 that 18 of us traveled 26 miles to the county courthouse in Indianola to try to register to become first-class citizens. We was met in Indianola by policemen.
The president, Lyndon Johnson, he's not afraid of Martin Luther King's testimony. He's afraid of Fannie Lou Hamer's testimony. And so he decides that the country should not see her testify live.
I began to scream, and one white man got up and began to beat me in my head and tell me to hush.
You listen to Mrs. Hamer and you're absolutely convinced that there's absolutely no justification for seating this all-white delegation.
SNCC, the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, went then into Lowndes County, Alabama, and organized the Lowndes County Freedom Organization. Said we would create our own black political party in the majority black county so that we can have our own representation. This was an important step that SNCC took. In 1965, for example, after the betrayal by white liberals in Atlantic City, New Jersey, who had promised Africans that if we should get together and come to the Atlantic City National Democratic Party convention. They would seat the black representatives from the Democratic parties and not seek the lynch mob white Democrats. The symbol for the Alabama Democratic Party was a white rooster, and SNCC chose as a symbol a Black Panther, and this is where the iconic Black Panther came from. This was, and people referred to it as the Black Panther Party. And this was the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee that had organized the Lowndes County Freedom Organization and had organized the Black Panther Party. I was a member of SNCC. I became a member of SNCC, and we organized our office in St. Petersburg, Florida, and we had a huge Black Panther on our outer office wall because we adopted the symbol that came from SNCC, from Lowndes County. It was an exciting symbol. It was a heady period of struggle for African people in this country. We were engaged with the city of St. Petersburg, Florida, in a serious struggle about just the rights of African people in St. Petersburg, Florida. And the fact that they had received, or were going to receive, something like a $50 million federal grant that they were going to use to beautify downtown white St. Petersburg. And we struggled against that and said that instead that money should go towards some kind of economic development for the African communities. So we initiated some demonstrations, and when we called for the demonstration, announced that we were going to do the demonstration, some of the traditional black leaders got together and denounced it through the white media, saying that they were opposed to any kind of demonstration, and they came out against us. They held secret meetings. We marched on that city hall, and we marched, we had made the focus of our march this 8 by 4 foot racialized mural that was to show this caricature of African people, African men entertaining white people at a beach in this area. And when we were marching, an older African woman saw us marching, and she jumped in the demonstration, in the march with us, and we went to the city hall. And when she began to speak, the white policeman and the white reporters who were standing in front of the steps where she spoke began to laugh at her. We had not planned to take that mural down on that day. But when they began to laugh at the old woman, it incensed me, infuriated me, because to them, what they were viewing was something that was representative of the mural that they had hanging there on the wall in the city of St. Petersburg. And so I was angered, and I turned on my heel and charged into the city hall, and I was followed by Jody Wall, 17 years old. I found a corner on the mural, snatched the mural from the wall, and Jody and I marched out of the city hall with the mural. Now, that wasn't the end of it. And the point that I want to make is that there was history. There was an incredible struggle that was happening with our people at that time. Africans were being murdered and brutalized just as they are today, except then we had a situation where the people who were killing us were much more honest and said they were doing it to us because we were black. SNCC was effectively the Black Panther Party. So SNCC and the Black Panther Party, the Black Panther was here in St. Petersburg, Florida, where we stormed the city hall. And then a little more than 4 months after, we saw another group of Panthers storm into a government building. This time it was the Sacramento State Legislature. And they, as I mentioned, they went there with guns. So you saw this escalation, and this was a part of the entire process that we're talking about. African people were engaged in serious struggle at that time, as we are today. But an outstanding thing at that moment was it was a struggle that was revolving more and more around the question of self-determination, direct action, and the demand that African people have control of our own affairs. And when it came to that mural, we demanded control of our own image, and we demanded that the monies and resources that come from the black community, the African community in St. Petersburg, go toward the African community in St. Petersburg, and said that the white people in the city government did not have a right to depict us in that fashion on that wall. We don't allow the city of St. Petersburg to have the right to depict us and our history in 2016. It was wrong then, it's wrong now. So we demand black community control of the mural.
Uhuru. Thank you so much to Black Star Industries and Charles Oliver for that amazing video. Uhuru. Yes, it really does lay out the history of the mural. And I just want to also acknowledge Lou Brown, who was the former chair of the Coalition of African American Leadership. Uhuru, right there, the hand up, Uhuru. And also a shout out to one of my favorite comrades, Deanne Lewis, Uhuru, the sister of Tyron Lewis, Uhuru. Long live Tyron Lewis. Long live Tyron Lewis. The Black community must have Uhuru, yes. Tyron Lewis Ave is another fight that we are also in a struggle that we are also in with the city, with the state of naming. We already named the street 18th Ave into Tyron Lewis Ave. And we put up, what is it? How many, 2 or 3 street signs since? 2 street signs so far. And have been struggling with the city ever since. Deanne Lewis was out with us 24 hours, almost more, defending that sign. Uhuru. I wish I had a big sister like you, girl. Uhuru. Yes, and we will be putting back the sign. Uhuru. January 9th, we will be putting up the sign. So make sure to tell your friends and family at 8 o'clock, meet us at the Uhuru House. We will be marching to the corner, putting up that sign right back up. We will have entertainment, culture, speeches, free food. So make sure to come out and defend Tyron Lewis Ave on January 9th at 8 p.m. Uhuru. You gonna be there, right, Dan? Yeah, she gonna be there. She gonna stay out there late like last time for 24 hours. Uhuru. So now next we have culture by our community poet, Marquise. Uhuru. And shout outs again to Black Power 96.3, Black Power 96.3, and also 99 Jams. Uhuru.
Cool.
Thank you. Check. Check. Can y'all hear me? Check.
Check. All right. If y'all can't hear me, I'm gonna boom my voice anyway. Thank you. Check. Yeah. There we go. My boom. So Uhuru, first of all, Uhuru. How y'all doing? spit this one. It's not new. It's not, I just wrote it, but it is new. So, there's never enough images, mirror men mentoring, but the hindrance are coming with life sentences. I pretend that the offense is just offense against the black struggle, but the black brother time is real. They giving out 30 years for a cheap deal. And it's a happy meal as long as that boy Pappy still. Like the Hamburglar, caged in a box, and black and whites being chased by black and white cops. They hate to see you smile, put you on trial, deny you any access to the outside, telling white lies. They play the game foul. They wonder why black people want to go wild. I try my best to keep my head, chest, and neck covered. I arm myself because I know that they'll harm a brother. They call me vigilante because I seek justice. That's because my Christianity is slow to judgment. Bah! Welcome to the country, the home of the brave, where black men are free, but we're 12 years a slave. They buy us off the market and sell us in a trade, and some of us will sell our souls just to be appraised. That's them coon niggas. So afraid to be a goon nigga. They sell you up the river quick, pontoon niggas. And when it rain, they ain't in the monsoon with you. Them the type of lynch you hang you high noon, nigga. Black men are missing. MIA. The system has a vengeance on putting black men away. Now that's cold talk, for genocide. Black men are die for keeping black men alive. Fist in the sky. Black women pride. Black women fight because black children cry over black blood splatter. It's too thick to hide. And don't dismiss our lives because we think our children's lives matter. Bah! They hate it when the pendulum swing. I'm bringing lyrical pain. I preach to them like the minister came. And it's a spiritual thing when I be speaking to your soul. We never equal. On the legal system, no. Open up your eyes and see that we are not alike. We do the same crime and both our juries are white. You get a hung trial and I get hung for life. Now tell me, what does that even match up? You telling me you in the same struggle as us black folks. This to us is serious. You came up here to crack jokes and this is why we furious and taking out our illnesses on sinister people like you who can't stack up, so back up. We came to take back our race. Fist held high one time for the black race, so back up. We came to take back our race. Fist held high one time for the black race. Uhuru.
Uhuru, another round of applause. Uhuru. Yes, yes, thank you so much. And I just want to be self-critical. The event when we're putting back the sign is actually on January 8th, Sunday at 8 p.m. So just remember, the 8th at 8, you're going to be here at the Uhuru House. We'll be putting back up the Tyrone Lewis sign. Meet us here. We're going to march up there and be putting it back up. Uhuru. So now I have the honor of presenting Chairman Omali Yeshitela, Uhuru, the leader of the African People's Socialist Party and the Uhuru Movement, and the hands that tore down that sign. Uhuru, the mural, Uhuru. Long live Chairman Omali. Long live Uhuru.
Uhuru. Thank you, brothers and sisters and friends and comrades. First thing I'd like to do is to acknowledge the members of the Central Committee of the African People's Socialist Party who are in the House. I see my wife, Comrade Ona Zene Yeshitela, who is a custodian of all of the economic work of our movement here and in various other places around the country and the world. Gazi Kozo, Timber, who was up earlier, he's responsible for all of our communications, our radio stations, our newspaper, the political education that happens inside our organization and every place else around the world. There is Comrade Kinge, who is Chief of Staff. Did I leave out someone who's here? I didn't leave out anybody that's here, so I wanted to acknowledge you. I think it's important for people to know that we're not some kind of one-person organization, that people play very critical roles in this movement. The other thing I want to do is I was not participating in shaping up what this program would look like. And one thing that's going to be real important is we have to alter the program somewhat because we have to hear from John Bryant, and that's not on the program. Because John played a critical role leading up to taking the mural down. I shocked him when I came out of that building with that mural, dragging that mural behind me. But up to that point, he played a very critical role in this process. What I would like to do, brothers and sisters, you saw something that was presented here in the video, and you're aware that the city of St. Petersburg is engaged in now a search, they say, to give $50,000 to an artist. It started at 10. Now they say want to give $50,000 to an artist who would do a mural that is representative of the history and the circumstances that led to that one being taken down 50 years ago. And two, the mural would show the progress and civil rights and inclusivity that has occurred in this city since that time. And there are a number of reasons that's problematic. The biggest reason is it's a lie. It's a lie. Their intent is a lie because how can they put a mural up that's representative of the conditions, circumstances that led to its removal, and they haven't talked to anybody who took it down? They haven't had a single word, not a single discussion, nothing. Even after complaining about that in the news media, no one has actually approached us to have a discussion around that. So that's the first thing. The second thing about it is to show the improvement in the city. That's a lie. 50 years ago, there were African-owned service stations in this city. There were African-owned grocery stores in this city. There were thriving business districts in this city, 18th Avenue, 16th Street, 22nd Street, and there was the gas plant area, all of which had businesses that black people owned 50 years ago. The reality is 50 years later, we are worse off in terms of the material conditions than we were when that mural came down. And I think it's really important. It's a lie. That's the first thing. It's a lie. And the other thing I want to say is that it's not about a picture. It's about power. It is about freedom. Because when you don't have power, those who have power over you define who you are, how you're supposed to look, how you're supposed to act. They define you for you. So as long as you don't have any power, they put up images like that and say, those are our darkies in this city, right? Listen, this is not something that's peculiar to us. You see things happening, people are getting killed in Paris and other places because they want to take the images. These are white people who have controlled most of the Middle East for the ages. They are the ones who defined the borders in the Middle East. They are the ones who created what they now call Lebanon, Syria, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, etc. They created that. They drew the maps. The French and the British did that. And they dominated the people. They beheaded people as normally and naturally. You could see some of the photos that they had. They made postcards of the heads of Arabs and Muslims that these white people had cut off and sent back to Europe to show them. And so they have complete control of the people. They have total disregard for the culture and the religion of the people. So they would do the most despicable things. You would find it hard to even imagine the way they have depicted the prophet in the religions of Islam. And because when you got power, you define what these oppressed people look like. Except to the extent that people begin to win back their freedom, they began to challenge your ability to define who the hell they are. And so in France, you've seen them go in and shoot up places and people, and they were justified in doing it. Because white people, white power, do not have the right to define us. That is power. Power is the ability to define phenomena and to make it act in a particular way. That is what power is all about. And so it was about power, this question. And I think it's really important to understand just a couple of things, because there are some features of this period that we live in today that are similar to the period of the 1960s. We're not waxing nostalgic here. We're not here because we got some kind of romantic feeling about the 60s. It's because the 60s, the Chinese said at the time, the 60s represented a period when revolution was the main trend in the entire world, where people all around the world had said white power and colonialism was not going to dominate us anymore. That's all over the world. That was all over, Cuba in 1959 kicked it off and what have you. And Vietnam, 1960s, incredible struggle of this poor population, small country that went up first, defeated the French, and then kicked Uncle Sam's butt out of Vietnam. Oppressed people everywhere were rising up. And in this country, there was a revolution as well. And that revolution was crushed and defeated. That's what the murder of Martin Luther King was about. It was your revolution they killed when they killed King. It was your revolution they killed when they killed Malcolm X. And they killed other decent human beings who just wanted us to be free. They were not hustlers like you see so much of today. They wanted our people to be free. They were not trying to make names for themselves. They were not hustlers. They wanted people to be free. That's what we saw in the 1960s. It was a whole turning point because Uncle Sam and the whole white world had grown accustomed to only dealing with those people who they had selected as our leaders, not just in our communities, but around the world. They put the people in power in Saudi Arabia, the same people who are there now. White people put them there. They put the people in power in Cuba. Batista was put there by the United States government before Fidel and the revolutionaries overturned him. They had done that all around the world, and people fought and won their freedom. And that's been a fundamental thing in terms of the changing political and economic configuration of the whole planet Earth is now being challenged. And this political and economic configuration of the world, the wealth of the world, the political economy of the world has its origin in slavery and colonialism. Everything that white people have on the planet Earth has come as a consequence of slavery and colonialism. That's where it came from. And it's not just that they got a lot of money. That's just an aspect of it. They institutionalize it. It's called capitalism. And it has all kinds of structures. It is a parasitic structure. You know what a parasite is? It's like a tapeworm. We used to see a lot of tapeworms when we were growing up. That was before your time, Lou. That was during the time we used to eat a lot of old meat and stuff. Most people got off of that stuff by now. And in this meat, this larva from this worm would be there. And you eat that old nasty meat. You know, meat ain't, you call it meat, but it's dead animal parts, right? And you'd eat these dead animal parts, and this larva would attach itself to your intestine. It didn't do no work. It didn't have to do no work. It just hung onto your intestine. If you worked and you ate, it ate. And no matter how much you eat, you can't get any bigger. But in you, this tapeworm is growing, 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 and growing. That's the kind of economy that has been created off slavery and colonialism. That's why when you talk about, let's get the white man and capitalism to act right, capitalism is acting right. It's a parasite. And you can't get rid of it. You can't talk it out. You can't pray it out, Rev. I'm sorry, you can't pray it out. You understand? But which is not to say you can't get rid of it, but it's going to take some tough medicine, special medicine, revolutionary medicine. You take some of that revolutionary medicine and you can flush the tapeworm down the toilet of history. But the reason the tapeworm won't leave you, it's not because it don't like you. It's because if it leaves you, it'll die. Because a parasite must have a host in order to exist. If it doesn't have a host, it dies. You can't tell a parasite, okay, leave me, parasite, because you like me. It doesn't work that way. And that's the thing that's happening. You have a parasite. And this parasite is being challenged all around the world. You look at economic crisis happening around the world, it's because people are taking their stuff back. Because poor people in Afghanistan, the most powerful country in the world, I'm told, the United States have been killing those people for 16 years. People barely have enough for bread for their children. And they have defied the white man for 16 years with all the power. Look at Venezuela. Look at people all around the world who are standing up, who one would never thought have been able to do that. And this is what the crisis is about. Crisis all over Europe. The Greeks are in crisis. The French are facing crisis. And Trumpism is something that's everywhere. It's not just here. Marine Le Pen in France, right-wing white woman, all over Europe, Brexit, England quit the European Union because it's every white man for himself. As the crisis gets deeper and people take their stuff back, it's every white man or woman in the face of Hillary Clinton for yourself. And so this is the kind of crisis that we're living in today. That's why I'm not scared. Trump don't scare me. What scares me is that we got a leadership that doesn't understand that we got to be able to do for ourselves, go for ourselves. That's the thing that scares me. So in the 1960s, what was happening is that old-time leadership was being challenged too around this country. And it was being challenged right here in this city. That was a factor. So we struggling. John gonna tell you about how we had programs for the poor people in this community, keeping people out of jail, walking the streets right there on the deuces as these Negroes now, it's become this fashionable thing, isn't it? You know, the deuces. Well, those Negroes wouldn't be on 22nd Street at nighttime. The ones who are celebrating the deuces today, you see them in the newspaper, the deuces, no, you couldn't catch them Negroes on 22nd Street, after dark, but we were there, and they would even hold up something like the Manhattan Casino. Do you know what the Manhattan Casino was? Yeah, we went there because it was the only place that we could go to see B.B. King or to see some of those other folks. So some Jew on that place. It was a joint where people come and get drunk downstairs, and then on the weekends you can go up and have a thing. Why are you celebrating that? This is some kind of historic thing that they've created. This is the contempt that they have for us. That's why we have to define for ourselves, and that's what the mural was about as well. So when we were talking about SNCC coming to town, you got to remember, 1966, that was the year that our movement had developed in this country. I was a part of the civil rights movement. I organized black voter education and registration programs throughout northern Florida. I was almost lynched in northern Florida, organizing black people to register to vote. They wanted to jail me in Alachua County for organizing black people to register to vote and what have you. This is the kind of work that was going on at the time. So I participated in the civil rights movement. This hustler, Jordan, what's his name? Jordan, who was over court. Vernon Jordan. I worked for Vernon Jordan inadvertently. John Dew ran a program, who was our lawyer, and he ran this anti-voter education, anti-poverty program. And I was an organizer for him for 6 counties in the state of Florida. So I did the civil rights thing. I tried to participate in the NAACP. I tried, Reb, I tried. And, but they playing, and I don't play. And we go to, they have these little fake protests, and they were nothing but fake protests. Nobody was upset. Somebody said it earlier, I think it was Frank Peterman who spoke at a funeral. I was just at a moment ago, he quoted Frederick Douglass. Said, power concedes nothing without a demand. Never has, never will. And when you're talking about making a demand, if you are not prepared to deliver a consequence, the ones who oppress you will continue to oppress you forever. You've got to be able to develop, to put forth a consequence, even if it's nothing but disruption. You gotta make them pay a consequence. But they knew the NAACP guys weren't talking about no consequence. They were playing, right? And so you had this whole new generation of young people who came on the scene to challenge that old-timey, we shall overcome a few years from now, or next century kind of politics. And we were impressed with the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, because these were courageous young people at the time. You'd have the NAACP wouldn't go any of those places. You'd have SCLC, Martin Luther King's group. They would go into a city in Mississippi or Georgia, or Alabama, someplace. They would have a big rally, raise a lot of money, and then leave town. And when they left town, them white folks did, horrible things to the black people left there, but not SNCC. SNCC would move in with the people and suffer the same kinds of circumstances and consequences the people suffered. And that's why we were attracted to SNCC, because they live with the people. They were one with the people. If the white man came tomorrow after we've done something today, we would be there with them. And the people, of course, were people, they weren't like King saying, turn the other cheek. Ordinary black people who, they were ready to fight back and would arm themselves to fight back. And that was what impressed us. And so we joined with SNCC. And it was a courageous organization. And you saw some of the history there with the movement, 1964, Summer Project it was called. Summer Project, the objective being to go into Mississippi, and it was decided to invite white students to go into Mississippi as well, the Mississippi Summer Project, because the brutality that was being imposed on our people in Mississippi in particular wouldn't even allow people to join the Democratic Party, just to register as Democrats, killing people for that. And to keep the movement alive. Because after a while, white people get tired of you. They don't care what, your complaints, your problems. I'm telling you, they get tired of you. You'll see with Trump. And so SNCC decided to bring white students into Mississippi, because they knew if all them white people came into Mississippi, the media would follow them. And the media would follow them because some of them had parents who were senators and who were rich and who were big shots and what have you. So SNCC organized for white people to go into Mississippi with them. On the first day of the Summer Project, the very first day, 3 civil rights movement members disappeared. Schwerner, Goodman, and an African named Cheney. And it was clear to SNCC that they were dead. And they had been captured and they had been murdered. And it was really interesting because when they were looking for these 3 people, they were dragging rivers, they were digging holes in likely places, and they just kept digging up bodies. They just kept digging up black people. And then finally, they found the 3 who had been murdered. That was a really important thing. And so they went to build the Summer Project and challenge the Democratic Party of Mississippi. The white liberals said that we with you, until we got to Atlantic City, New Jersey. And then they double-crossed us. Lyndon Baines Johnson double-crossed us. He used Hubert Humphrey, who double-crossed us, who used Walter Mondale, double-crossed us. And then the civil rights leaders wanted to double-cross us too. They tried to get us to take the deal. You know what the deal was? We went there to say that the white Mississippi lynch mob Democratic Party violates everything about the Constitution. They won't let black people participate. They violate everything. They should not be given credentials to represent the Democratic Party. Here we have a black organization that has gone through all the processes, had our own convention in Mississippi, state convention, allowing anybody to participate. We're saying that this is who should represent the Democratic Party in Mississippi. And then we get to Atlantic City, New Jersey, Johnson, Mondale, Humphreys, all of them double-crossed the black community and said, what we'll give you instead is 2 non-voting seats. And that's where Fannie Lou Hamer made a famous statement that we didn't come this far for no 2 seats when everybody is tired, and walked out of the Democratic Party convention. And that's when SNCC went into Lowndes County, Alabama, to build the Lowndes County Freedom Organization. That was 1965. And they were going to create an all-black political party, electoral party at this time. And the Democratic Party of Alabama, its symbol was a white rooster. And symbols are really important. And so SNCC said that we should also have a symbol that shows strength, courage, power, fearlessness, and came up with the symbol of the Black Panther. And the white people began to call it the Black Panther Party. We didn't even name it. They named it the Black Panther Party. And that's where the Black Panther Party came from. So when we open up the SNCC office on 22nd Street, that they've destroyed, so there's no memory ever of what was there before. On that wall, this huge panther. This was before Huey and Bobby Seale and what have you. We were the Panthers. SNCC was the Panthers. And so this was the Black Panther movement that marched on December 29th, after we had struggled with the city government about the mural, about the $50 million that they were going to spend to beautify downtown white St. Petersburg, while we couldn't even get a pothole fixed in those areas that we lived. So when we went there, when we marched from there, we were marching from a Panther office. We were the Panthers. We were the Black Power movement, and this is something that shook white people and white power to its very foundation. They were terrified. They never seen no niggas like this. What kind of niggas is this? I'm telling you a literal truth. When I came out of there with that, and the reason I tore the mural down, and it was not my intention to tear the mural down. We had discussed it before, jokingly. We said, look, here's what we can do. We can put on some coveralls and put a rag in the back pocket and get some ladders and a board and just walk into City Hall and sit it up there and just get up and take it down. Nobody's even going to say anything because that's what niggas supposed to do. Be in coveralls and working for the white folks. And that's what they were going to assume we were doing. We joked about that. But on the way there, when we were marching to the City Hall, this old woman, this old black woman, she saw us, she just ran out, putting on a robe and stuff, and I think she might have even been in house slippers, and she marched with us from Fairfield. I think it was somewhere near Fairfield and where Frank Peterson's store used to be. And somewhere around that area, yeah, 20th, yeah. She marched with us all the way there. And when we got there, per usual, we're standing up on the state platform, on the stairs, making speeches. And the old woman wanted to speak. And this was her time. This is who we were. And we gave her the chance to speak, and she started talking. And she was using split verbs and double negatives and stuff like that, right? And she's talking about how these insurance companies be taking black people's money all the time, and then they won't give you anything for it at the end of the day, just ripping the community off. And the white people, the white cops, and the white reporters began to laugh at her. And that was intolerable. That incensed me, all right? So planned or not, I turned around and went in the building and snatched the mural off the wall. And Jody Wall, who was 17 years old, he followed me into place, and I snatched the mural off the wall. And this lovely white woman who was a city clerk, I'll never forget her. She was standing up on the stairwell. She looked down on us and very eloquently said, "You black bastards." And we marched out of the City Hall with that mural. And when we were marching down the street with the mural, a cop ran up to me and he grabbed me by my arm. There's a picture there, right there. When he grabbed me by my arm, he was trembling. He was literally trembling because they had never confronted black people who were willing to fight back, to resist, as opposed to just lay down and do what white people and white power wanted them to do. They were terrified. And that was a whole new era that had opened up. This was the problem that they had. That mural became symbolic of a whole changing of the guard. A whole new generation of black leaders was emerging, and it was not one that would just lay down and allow them to do anything they wanted to do. Now what has happened is, over a period of time, you've seen the assassination of Malcolm X. The government, you know the American government killed Malcolm. I hope you know that. You've seen the assassination of Martin Luther King. You know the American government killed Martin Luther King. You've seen mass arrests of black people all around this country. I was in and out of jail so much I had to read the newspaper to find out where I was, right? And they were slaughtering and killing us all around the country, the worst kind of repression. There was a war without terms. And I say without terms because in normal warfare, they have conventions. Geneva Conventions, you can't do this in warfare. They didn't have any terms when they came out against us. And then after they came out against us, of course, they began this whole process of putting in place this substitute for black leadership, who no longer worked for our community, but who worked for white power. They destroyed even the economy on purpose. So that you didn't, let me tell you something, what has happened. When you had black grocery stores, when you had those black nightclubs, when you had those black business districts and what have you, those black people who were in business had to depend on black people for their income. They're going to send their children to school because black people are going to shop with them. But after they destroy your businesses, you don't have any black businesses. Now every Negro got a job, works for the city, works for the county or something like that. And when the white man say jump, those Negroes jump. Because they're not responsible, accountable to the community anymore. They're accountable to white power now. And that's what I mean when I said they did it on purpose. When they said they were going to work for economic development and they sent that interstate that closed down 22nd Street, destroyed all the businesses in 22nd Street, destroyed, changed the traffic patterns, wiped the businesses out. When David Welch helped them to destroy the gas plant area, all the businesses went with it. All the there were black businesses there. Mr. Agalam was there, Mr. Judge was there, the brother who had the service station there, all of those were gone. No businesses there. You don't have any business now. Your children don't have any businesses they can look up to and aspire to say, I can do this, I can do that. This is what the mural is about, more than just a damn picture. It's about the question of freedom and black power. Black power. And I'm going to say this and get out your way, because I want John to say some things. We were different. Still are different. Somebody said, this building here started 50 years ago. It did. This ain't the only building. We got furniture stores in Oakland, California, and in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We got, some of the stuff we got. We got we got, of course, the gym up here, and we purposely put the gym in our community. Why should you have to leave your community to go to a gym? Why should you have to leave your community to go to a gym to get your black self in shape? It doesn't make any sense to you. We got a radio station right in this room here. Got a radio station. That started 50 years ago. We got organization in South Africa. We got organization in Kenya, where's it in West Africa? We got organizers in Nigeria. We got organization in Sierra Leone. We got organization in the United Kingdom. If you're here a few days from now, you'll see organizers who are coming here from Stockholm, black people from Stockholm and Sweden and what have you. That started 50 years ago. It's about uplifting our people. And we were different because what we discovered was that
You don't get your freedom by fighting against racism. You don't get your freedom by fighting about somebody's attitude toward you. I'm in a struggle against racism. I'm struggling because white people don't like me. That's the silliest thing I ever heard in my life. How do you know when you won? Does somebody come out with a white flag and say, we surrender? You know, no. And you don't fight like that. White people used to say about Chinese, if you don't have a good chance, they say you don't have a Chinaman's chance. You don't stand a Chinaman's chance. They didn't like Chinese. But you didn't hear the Chinese saying, let's fight for against racism. They said, let's fight for power. You didn't hear the Chinese saying, I'm going to build a movement against racism. They say, I'm going to build an atomic bomb. So I don't know if they like Chinese even better today than they did yesterday, but I know one thing, they don't mess with the Chinese. You understand? They don't mess with the Chinese. And I'm saying that we have to build a movement that can protect our people, that can look out for ourselves. That's what this movement is about. Build our own economy. You start someplace. That's what this movement is about. That's what Black Power, that's what it was about. John, I hope John would tell you a little bit about some things. I want you to know some stuff that we were involved in. John, I'm sorry we don't have ability to show you these, and those are later pictures there. But there were some other photos, yeah, this is me, go back. This is during the jail. That's Jody Wall behind me. That's me, that skinny guy right there. Coming out of the holding area into the courtroom. That's me, right there with Frank Peterman, who was my lawyer at the time. That was your Frank, father, who was my lawyer at the time. Cricket room. That's Lemuel Green. See him tussling with the cop. Go again. Let's see what we got. Is that it? Okay. Can you show me the picture of, I don't see John on that picture. There's another picture that we have where you can see John over my shoulder. That was on one of the marches. That might have been on the march. That might have been the 29th right there. Marching to the City Hall. Yeah. That's all. It was just called Law Rock. No, it's not there anymore. It's not there anymore. That's the dome is there, isn't it? Parking lot. The parking lot. And that's me right there. And I guess they're about to take me back to jail. But we did work in the community. That was Slick's time. John, I would like for you to just, if you would, first of all, tell a little bit about the kind of work we did. And also, it didn't just happen on the 29th because Christmas Day, 1969, Christmas Day. 1960? 66. 66, yeah, Christmas Day, we had a demonstration too. And this is a demonstration in front of Bethel's Baptist Church. And a demonstration in front of the church. Because the preachers and a whole bunch of big shot Negroes were meeting behind our back with the white folks. And two people, Dean Moore, one before that, Mrs. McLean had told me the meeting about y'all, you should get down there. And I disrupted one meeting before then. And then Dean Moore told us about some other stuff. And we had a demonstration in front of the church on Christmas Day. So John, talk to us.
Well, Dean Moore was, can you hear me?
No. Can we get some mic here?
I can stand a little bit.
I'll move this if it becomes necessary. Try it, John, see what you got.
Dean Moore.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me, okay. Okay.
Good. What do you say?
Hello, Uhuru? Uhuru? No.
It's not Uhuru.
Uhuru?
Yeah, Dean Moore was our inside man. He would go to all the meetings of the
Some people didn't know Dean Moore.
well, the housing project on 37th Street was built in honor of Dean Moore. But he was a well man.
The Black
YMCA. He was very respected color community leader. But he was our inside man. He would go to all the meetings and faithfully report back to us everything that went on. And he told us about the meeting at Second Bethel Baptist Church on Fifth Avenue up on 16th Street back in those days. And they were having a meeting about our organization tried to speak to the churches in St. Petersburg and let them know what was going on at City Hall. They would not let us speak. And the thing that it was getting closer, Christmas 1966. And what set everything off was that a white newspaper reporter called a meeting of the responsible Negro leaders. And they met at the church and they issued a statement, article condemning us, because we had plans to march on City Hall. And they had the Negro leaders, that's it, Reverend Ian Davis Church, that tiger of the movement, so-called. And they issued a statement one by one why we wouldn't have to have a march on City Hall. And it's about 6 or 7 items, check marks in the St. Petersburg Times. And that paper came out December 24th, December 23rd, 24th, 1966. And we were naturally upset about that because we were trying to get all these two people to let us speak and talk about the mirror in City Hall, but they wouldn't listen to us. And so we had our meeting at the office on 22nd Street, and we just on Christmas Day, we marched the Second Bethel Baptist Church. It's another known name now. We're on 54th Avenue South. But that was another. But and we marched on that church and made our objections known, how they were treating us. And the thing about what was the part was a white man can call all these Negro leaders and get them to issue a statement condemning us. And they would have a meeting and talk about us, but they wouldn't talk to us. And that was the stuff. Well, and a few days after Christmas, about 4 days after Christmas, about December 29th, we were incarcerated. we were in Clearwater, but even before that, Frank Peterman was an attorney. And he was running for the, not city council, what he was,
I think it's state senate.
Yeah. And he was, you were his campaign manager.
Yeah.
And this is in 1966. And he had his office in the Times Square Shopping Center. And next to his office at Times Square Shopping Center was an ABC lounge, a liquor lounge, where you can go out, I see white people coming in with flip-flops and having a good time, And there's a liquor store next door. It's ABC, chain of liquor stores. And Frank Peterman lost that year. He lost that election to a man who never campaigned. Mm-hmm. And Frank Peterman's people all over the district. But all the white man came up who defeated Frank Peterman about a week before the election. He just showed his name, his picture. Mm-hmm. And he defeated Frank Peterman. And my mother and I, we were quite upset about that. And he said, let's go next door and have a drink. Well, I was half pico, but he led me by the hand. He went to ABC Lounge, and we had a drink. We ordered a drink anyway. And the white bartender said that, no, we don't serve your kind in there. I said, well, what are you doing? I said, well, we ordered a drink again. He said, no. And so I got my said, but you know, we could drink something, I guess. And about 10 minutes later, there was a policeman came, and I was standing back and headed for the door. And he grabbed them all on the shoulders and dragged them out of the place. And that's how our movement started at the ABC Lounge and Liquor Store right there at Times Square Shopping Center. You know, and we had, I had a car. I was the only person who had a car. My little Rambler, a two-door Rambler. I had bought in Washington, D.C. And we had started demonstrating every ABC liquor store, about 6 of them. Times Square, there's a little ABC right there on the corner right there, where the food place is. California ABC liquor store, we demonstrated around there. And we had people coming from all over. Well, we managed to tell about 30 people to cover 6 liquor stores. And that was we tried to get people to understand, it's not that we're going to demonstrate for the right to sit down and drink liquor with white people. That's not even is it. ABC is a liquor store that depends on black people for money. And all these liquor stores, you can see black people getting out of the stores, going to the liquor store, And but they had the ABC lounges all over the place, but black people couldn't get in, couldn't sit down. And they laughed, a lot of people laughed at us, the elites, you know, paid by, look at them, laughing at us. But they never offered to help us demonstrate. They didn't care about what we were demonstrating. We were just jokes, you know. And so, for a while, and then the Mural came up, and what the man did, Holloway, who owned the liquor stores, he closed it down. And that picture, it had a beautiful waterfall picture in the front, in the window. He took the waterfall down and made a blank wall, you know, and then he opened it for blacks only. Now, only you can the store on any given night, and there were black people, mobs of black people in the parking lots, inside the ABC lounge, having a good time, and they brag about, look at what we got. I mean, hundreds of black people. We can find hundreds of black people to demonstrate for the. They thought we were driving. We would demonstrate to go to ABC lounge. That's not what we're all about. We were talking about a man had a liquor store in our community, and we couldn't come inside and have a drink. We wasn't good enough. But we go to the liquor store, I mean the lounge, we couldn't go to the lounge, or we go next door to the liquor store and buy all the liquor we want, and that's what his business with liquor stores. The lounge didn't give us money, but he didn't want us in the liquor, in the lounge. And that's what it's all about. And then the other things came on, after that. And I saw black people who I met, I grew up with. They said, well, when the Mural came down, y'all had some good ideas. This is telling us. Y'all had some good ideas, but y'all just went about it the wrong way. How you going? But the white people who put the Mural up in City Hall, they didn't go out the wrong way. They didn't have no. They didn't have no community meeting, and the black community say, how y'all think? What y'all think about this picture right now? They didn't say anything about it. They just put it up on the wall, and that was it taught me a lot about our people. Not all our people, but our people. Some of our people who just don't want to make an effort, but they will enjoy what you achieve. And they don't even know why you're doing it. Why we out there demonstrating. But they come in to enjoy what came about. And we went to December 29, 1966. There was an eye opener to me. It taught me a lot about myself. I just I just didn't, I didn't ever have, I didn't know I had it in me to go to jail. But I learned, I was in jail now, I didn't, not deal at Omali was jail, but I was in a jail from December 29, 1966 to February 2nd, 1967. And I was in the Akwaaba jail when those 3 astronauts got incinerated about that, atop of that, the missile, getting ready to go in orbit. Gus Grissom and Shapley and White. I was in jail at that time, getting ready to come out. But that was an eye-opener to me. And I just said, I tried to teach myself to just better be a man. And I just, to this day, I was 25 then, now I'm 75 today. And I feel better. I just haven't done the things I want to do in the last 50 years, but I'm still living and learning. And I just want to be that way. So I thank y'all for giving me my little space. Thank you.
John, I think you were SNCC program director, weren't you? Where were you? Project or program director? What? Program director for SNCC. Yeah. And our SNCC organization was the first SNCC organization in the country that was a membership-based organization. All of the other SNCC organizations were students, and they were what do you call them? So like volunteers who went into places, but that's why the SNCC organization that we created had so many similar characteristics of the Black Panther Party, because that was a community-based organization too. So we weren't somebody coming from the outside to help the poor, ignorant, we were on the ground. We organized into the organization itself, like African working class people. And I want to say that this was the action that we took on December 29th, 1966, was historic in a number of ways. One way it was historic is because a little less than 4 months, a little more than 4 months later, on March 2nd, I think it was, 1967, May 2nd, 1967, members of the Black Panther Party went into Sacramento, into the state legislature, testing them with a protest with guns because the state was trying to say they couldn't carry, to carry guns because of the Black people started carrying guns. And so I'm sure what we did in St. Petersburg, going into that city hall as Panthers, influenced what happened in Oakland, California, in Sacramento just a few months later after that. And so it was a really historic moment, what happened here. And I wanted to, say that. And John, there were some incredible forces. Jody Wall was 17. And the story he told, he said his mother was really upset with him when he went to jail. When John tells a story about when we tore that mural down, I'm coming out of the city hall with that mural, John's a preacher's son. And standing right across the street from City Hall, coming out of the, what kind of place? Out of the county building was his daddy, the preacher. You understand? So he had, he looked at his daddy and pointed at me. But Jody talked about how his mother was so upset and said, "Why are you doing this?" And he said when his mother used to clean house for a white doctor, and when he was 6 years old, another child stabbed him on the side of his eye with a pencil, and his mama took him to the white doctor. Said, "Look at my boy," that she worked for. And the doctor refused because he was an African. He said, "Mama, that's why That's why I had to do it. This is our reality. And the thing is, brothers and sisters, nothing has changed. And that's the fundamental point that I would make. Because people are upset about what's happening in the country. They're upset about Trump, and I don't, you're upset about Trump. I don't know what Trump's going to do, but I know what Hillary has done. To us. I know what the Clinton Foundation has done. The hundreds of millions of dollars that came out of Haiti after that earthquake, and so many black people died, and they got the money. And nothing has gone to our people in Haiti. I know that if you talk about what happened to Tyrone Lewis here, chances are the cop that killed him is one of the 100,000 cops that Clinton put on the streets when he made this promise to white people, if you elect me, that I will put 100,000 policemen on the streets of this country. So Trump might be horrible. He is horrible. You can't be a white billionaire and not be horrible. You understand? So he is horrible. But the Clintons, their track record, it stinks to the high heavens. And whether it's Democrat or Republican, they've done so many horrible things to our people. They've double-crossed us on every front. So this is the movement. This is the movement that grew out of what John and I did 50 years ago. And I'm so proud of John. He's a very meticulous guy, right? We'd write these letters, like to the mayor, and John would spend an hour or two on the letter, and he's very meticulous. And and I remember this really kind of caustic, is that a word? Statement. You ended one letter. These were your words, I think, that said something about this is the last time you're going to hear from us on this matter. I think that was the last letter we sent to them, and before the mural came down. Now, there is something wrong with what Gwendolyn Reese is doing. And the other woman, so Scott something, what's her name? Terry Scott. There's something wrong with that. For a number of reasons, there's something wrong with that. And it's not like they even got some kind of history being in the struggle for black people. And that they would participate. Gwen Reese works for the YWCA. She is the black face of the YWCA. And Terry Scott has been in the mayor's office for 100 years. That's what she did. And for them to take the history of our people like that, and to make history, you can take down a mural. There's another mural up there, Gwen. Take that one down. You understand? But they will make history by being the ones who got paid a Negro $50,000 to put something else up there. There's something wrong with that. It's really wrong with it. And I just have a problem of what it means in terms of the history of our people. The city owes an apology to the 5 people who went to jail and prison. The city owes an apology. The city owes an apology to black people for even having it up there for the length of time. The city needs to make a formal apology to the black community. See, if they don't apologize to you, don't you understand that that's an outstanding issue, that if they can just treat you any kind of way, never even come back and say, oops, excuse me, that means that they just keep doing it forever. There's no reason for them to ever do anything different. They need to do an apology. And that's why we don't need a mural up on that wall. We need a plaque up on that wall that tells the history and the city's involvement in putting it up there and how the city persecuted the people who took it down from there. That's what needs to happen on that wall, as opposed to some picture which will only be a cover-up for this history of the struggle of our people. And this community is an incredible community. And I've worked all over the world. I've organized in South Africa. I've organized in London, in various places in England. I've organized in Sierra Leone in West Africa. I've organized in Ghana in West Africa. This city, black people in this city, whoa. I heard what John was saying about some disappointments here, but those were middle-class Negroes that he's talking about. I'm talking about when the rubber hits the ground here and the government knows it. They are quite clear. That's why they're trying to be cautious about that sign. That sign going back up, by the way, for Tyrone Lewis. Y'all should know that, Black people in this city brought a helicopter down. You remember, Rev? Brought a helicopter down right out there, right? This city, black people in this city, because they've had 50 years of non-ending resistance and struggle here. And you can't say that about many places on earth. And so I just wanted to say those things, and I want to appreciate you for coming out, appreciate John Bryant, and what I would like for you to do more than anything else tonight is to listen to what Ghazi has to say right now.
Uhuru, round of applause, Uhuru. Uhuru, yes. So next we have up Akile Anai, who is the leader of the Three Drowned Black Girls campaign. Uhuru.
Uhuru. As Comrade Ghazi stated, my name is Akila Anai, and I am the chair for the Justice for the Three Drowned Black Girls campaign. And I first want to express my appreciation for being invited to speak at this historic event, the 50th anniversary of the tearing down of an anti-African mural that hung on the walls of St. Pete City Hall by Chairman Omali Yeshitela, John Bryant, and other organizers of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. It was an act that truly set the wheels in motion for the Black liberation struggle here in St. Petersburg, Florida, and around this country. And I am so honored to be a part of this event, and I embrace this act in the history of the African People's Socialist Party as my own to fight for every single day. And it has already been said by the chairman that this year, the city of St. Pete put together an illegitimate committee to decide what will go up on the blank space in City Hall to replace the mural that chairman had tore down without so much as even notifying the chairman that the discussions were even happening. It was going to be a mural showcasing the so-called prosperity and inclusivity of this city, which is a lie, a cover-up, and a completely different reality from what African people have to face in this city. Whether it's the oppression that African students experience within these schools and our children are treated as prisoners, or the rapid gentrification that has forced African people out of this community, the conditions no doubt have worsened for African people over the past 50 years. And a glowing testimony to that statement would be the emergence of the Justice for the Three Drowned Black Girls campaign. It was a campaign taken on by the International People's Democratic Uhuru Movement after the March 31st, 2016 murder of 15-year-old Lanaya Miller, Ashanti Butler, and 16-year-old Dominique Battle by Pinellas County sheriffs. They were illegally chased and corralled into a pond where 17 deputies trained as first responders stood by as the girls drowned, 15 feet away from them. Nearly 6 whole minutes of the girls screaming for their lives while they stood by, some making callous remarks about hearing screams, and others concluding after nothing could be heard that the girls were dead. So a committee was formed to fight for justice. Justice in the form of the immediate resignation of Sheriff Bob Gaultieri, who awarded the killer deputies, lied about the details of the case, and slandered these girls, their parents, and the African community. Justice in the form of criminal charges brought against all the deputies involved in the murder of the girls, including Deputy Howard Skaggs, the lead car that illegally chased and corralled the girls into the pond, and who was also responsible for the murder of 18-year-old African Laborio Felton in 2002, whom he also drowned. Justice in the form of Black community control of the police and reparation to the girls' families. This campaign is explicitly clear on what justice for these 3 girls looks like, because this system doesn't get to decide how justice is served after it takes the lives of our mothers, our fathers, and our children, after it forces us into the worst, most deplorable conditions and defines what crime looks like despite committing genocide against us, after it tries to cover up the lies of the city and its crimes against African people with a new mural. The city of St. Pete can't hide its horrendous crimes, and this movement, founded and led by Chairman Omali Yeshitela, has always made sure of that. This city has to remember Dominique, Lanaya, and Ashanti. It has to be held responsible for the murderous sheriff's department, and it will answer to this community and our demands for justice. And I want to also let you guys know of an event we're having this Sunday where it's our New Year 3DBG campaign kickoff. 3DBG stands for 3 Drowned Black Girls. And we'll be having a march in this community, and afterwards a resistance rally here at the Uhuru House with powerful speakers such as Kunde Mwamvita, who is the mother of Dominique Battle, who has been fighting in this fight, in this struggle, courageously since day one. The chairman will be speaking as myself, and we'll be bringing in the New Year right, fighting for justice for these 3 drowned Black girls. And around, Leo was going around passing out flowers for this event. And I just want to say that this is an amazing event. And again, it can't be expressed enough that over 50 years and nothing has changed. In fact, the conditions have worsened for African people. Africans have been murdered in this city since the mural has been torn down, from Tyrone Lewis in 1996, from the Boreal Felton in 2002, from Javon Dawson to Marquel McCullough, and to now Ashanti, Lanaya, and Dominique. The conditions have worsened for Africans in the city, which is why we must join in revolutionary organization. We must fight to overturn these conditions that have been imposed on the African community. We say join in this fight for justice for the 3 drowned Black girls. Long live Lanaya Miller. Long live Ashanti Butler. Long live Dominique Battle. Uhuru, thank you so much.
Uhuru, another round of applause for QANIE. Uhuru. Yes, and I just want to shout out again, Black Power 96.3, Uhuru, and 99 Jams. These are 2 Black community radio stations that are playing this live on the radio stations right now, and it is so powerful to be able to do that. We don't need Tampa Bay Times or any of these other people to play us anymore or to put us out there. We have the power ourselves. Uhuru! Yes. And also talking about the power for ourselves, Kunde, who is the fearless mother of Dominique Battle, the 16-year-old that was drowned, now works fearlessly for the African People's Socialist Party in the office of deputy chair. She no longer has to work for white power or those capitalist swines that also invest in the murder of her children. Now she works for the liberation of her people. Uhuru. Yes, she does not have to work from sun up to sundown at Taco Bell anymore. She is here at the Uhuru House fighting for the freedom of her people. She does not have to fear to lose her job just because she chooses to fight for her child and all African children. Uhuru. That's what Black power looks like. Uhuru. Next, we're going to have President Leo Carrera, who's going to come up and talk about the Black is Back rally that we will be having in January 14th in DC. Uhuru.
Uhuru. So in 2 weeks, the Uhuru Movement is going to Washington, D.C. To join the Black is Back coalition for a march for Black self-determination and Black power. We have recognized that Trump and Hillary Clinton have their own agenda, and we as African people have our own agenda. So we are going to be going there and marching, and we are calling everyone in St. Petersburg to join us, join Florida to this march and demonstration. So if anyone is interested in coming with us or learning more about that march and everything that's gonna be about, please see me at the end of this event and get the information for that. We are all going on a bus to Washington, D.C. for a march for Black self-determination and Black power. Uhuru.
Uhuru, thank you, President Leo. Uhuru. Another event we will be having, yes, we do a lot of things here. That's what Black power looks like. Uhuru. Another event that we will be having here January 7th through January 9th is the African People's Socialist Party plenary. The plenary is a major event that we have once a year. It's in between of our congresses. And every year we come and we meet all of our members and leaders from all over the world, from North America to South America, the Caribbean, Africa, Europe, Asia, come here to St. Petersburg, the headquarters of the African Liberation. Yes, that's what it is here. They come here and we meet and we talk about all of the things that we've done the past year and all of the things that we'll be doing in the next year. And it is important that the African community comes and participates and sees what is going on, because the African People's Socialist Party is your party. It's a party that fights for your interest every day, every hour, and every second. And it's important for you to see and have a voice in that fight as well. Uhuru? So we welcome you. So we have a party of our own. You do not need to be Republican, Democrat, Green Party, any of those things. You can be a party that represents you, your interest, and the interest of your children, which is the liberation of African people and self-determination. So we will be here January 7th through 9th. And if you would like to participate, please register at apsplenary.org. apsplenary.org. And if you forget to register, no worries. Just come to the Uhuru House at 8 a.m. here on January 7th, and you can register here. We will also have food, entertainment, great speeches, but also great work will be done for the liberation of our people. Uhuru. So lastly, we will have closing remarks by Chairman Omali Yeshitela. Uhuru.
Well, I want to thank you all for coming out, and I want to make a self-criticism for keeping you this late. It was not my intention. I didn't have a chance to see the program before, and if I had, we would organize it a bit differently, because I just really think it was important for John Bryant to have something to say. He played such a critical role in this struggle around the mural, and that's one of the things that I have not been able to make them say, that I was just one of the persons. You know, they haven't mentioned Lemuel Green. They don't mention John Bryant. They don't mention Jody Wall. They don't mention Tommy Williams. You know Joe Moley. You know Joe Moley? Tommy Williams. They don't mention Crawford Jones, any of those other people. Jackie Wilson, yeah. And though there were a number of us who were involved in that, and we were only selectively arrested, except for me and Jody. We were the ones who actually went in and tore the damn thing down. But John was being a good citizen. John was just walking down the street after the movement and everybody's going to jail. John was walking down the street picking up the picket signs that we had dropped while we were being arrested. And they just came back and got John and locked him up, right? So, and the old woman, I didn't mention, the old woman, she told them she wanted to go to jail too. They refused to arrest her. They refused to arrest the old woman, you know? So there were a lot of people. There were a lot of people, but a lot of them disappeared when I came out of that city hall with dragging that mule behind me. A lot of them decided to undemonstrate. But it was an incredible period, and this is an incredible community. I just kind of overstate the love and appreciation I have for this community. And this is one of the errors that white folks and white power always made. They never understood this community. They thought that they could attack me and do all this other stuff, but they never knew the relationship I have to this community. This is my community. This is my community. This is my community. You understand? And so they never understood that. I could tell you stories. I could tell you who kept the guns. They would blow your mind. It would blow their minds if they knew who kept the guns. They would blow their minds if I told, like, when they were looking for me, and we had black business people who stashed me in places that they would never look for me. I ain't talking. But so they never understood this community, and they never will. And I want y'all to stop talking so much, because y'all telling them about the community. When I was growing up, white people didn't even know how black people did our hair. Didn't have no idea, what makes your hair like that? And I ain't talking, you understand? But now I see white people playing in your hair and stuff like that, right? So stop talking so much. Stop talking so much. And we got a lot of work to do as a community. And we got to come together as a community. That's our first interest, has to be our people, ourselves. That's where our interest has to be. And, you know, I just respect this community so much. Lou, you remember when we had them bankers and everybody right down the street, we had them come out here to try to meet. We had demonstrations demanding economic development for this community, etc. Whoever heard of a demonstration by black people saying economic development? That was the demonstration. We had in this city, we had a citywide black convention, a black political convention for black people right in this city. And pull all the people and put together our own agenda as a community. That's where we have to go to. Back to the future. That's where we have to go. Back to the future. 50 years ago, the mural came down in a period of resistance. The resistance has to heat up again at this very critical moment in history. Thank you, brothers and sisters. Thank you so much. Thank you, Uhuru. Thank you, African People's Socialist Party. And thank you, my wife. Stand up. Uhuru. Israel too. Africa. Uhuru.